So I think I've spoken to one or two of you about assertions over the last few months, and this kind of, I don't know whether to call it a toolkit or just a set of VIs that I've made up to try and enable it, but it's kind of getting towards being not too buggy and complete. So thought I'd kind of talk about it, partly to prepare because I'm presenting on it at the CLA Summit as well. So those of you who are coming to that, there'll be a hopefully more polished version of this presentation there. So first of all, just kind of wanted to talk about what are assertions and kind of when you should use them, and then kind of give you a bit of a kind of take you through how the code works. I've tried to build it so that it's easy for people to expand on. It's all based on a lot of open stuff, so you can just override classes and build more child classes and so on if you want to add in more commands and more functionality. And I've put it on GitHub, so anyone who wants to download it and sort of modify it, resubmit and things like that, and you can do that, and I'll give you the address at the end. So I guess assertions, well, I first found out about assertions when I read some of this book. Has anyone else read this book? Right. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, there we go. Couple, yeah. So Code Complete, it's a very thick book. It's like 900 pages or something. So I've got about 300 pages to it. But one of the ideas that it comes up with is this idea of assertions, which is sort of elements that you put in your development code. The idea is that an assert will always be true if your code is operating as expected, and if it goes to false, then it means something unexpected has happened. So you need to go and fix your code because there's something wrong with the code, basically.
Has he got a picture of his own book on the front cover of his own book?
I think it's the old version, but yeah. That's secure code, I think. I think it's his other book on the cover of his book. Good point there. So the idea is that if an assert fails, you want it to loudly assert or loudly fail. So generally speaking, that's done by aborting the piece of code that you're checking, and therefore it kind of forces the developer to fix it before they actually kind of go on. And then you should be able to compile your asserts out of the code for when you deploy it, because once you come to deploy your code, you want it to be nice, and any errors that happen, you want them to be nice and quiet and just go back to kind of a safe state rather than to pop up a horrible dialog box in front of your customer or something. So I had a quick look on Wikipedia, and this is the definition, which says it a bit more kind of succinctly than I do. So yeah, basically just evaluates a true-false statement, should always be true. If it's false, then it causes the execution to abort. So these use cases, I took these out of Steve's book, so I haven't thought of all these use cases on my own. But things like checking input and output parameters to a sub-VI, make sure they're within an expected range, make sure you've opened up a file in the correct manner, and that is, if you want it to be read-only or write-only, then you've done that correctly. Check that values of input terminals haven't been changed by sub-VI, references are valid. Things like that are all things that you can confidently say at runtime they'll either be correct or they'll be wrong. Things like the user cancelling a dialog box or opening up an invalid ini file, you can't really account for so much in development code, so therefore that should be part of error handling. One thing I do know, or do realise, is that the unit test framework can definitely be used to do some of these functions, and obviously that unit test framework is a very good tool, so I definitely recommend using this kind of in conjunction with that rather than instead of. The only time really to not use them is you can't really use asserts instead of error handling in code. You may want to have asserts and an error handling on part of your code, but because you're going to compile the asserts out when you come to deploy the code, you still want to have your error handling in there, so you also want to have error handling in there. Does that make sense to everyone? Any questions about what they are? So rather than go through it on a load of slides, probably easier to show you with a just documentation. Should have brought a mouse down. So this library here in my project is the library I've created. Everything's going to come up on this screen, isn't it? This VI is the VI that put down in your development code. So it's relatively simple. At the start here, if there's a viewer application that sort of allows you to define and view all of your assert data, so that just starts that up if it's not already been started, and then writes all of your assert data, the name and all of the values and so on into the private data of this class, and then sticks it into a queue. And it's just named queue, so that's picked up by the assert application. And then, if assuming the assert application is running, you want to be able to respond to it so you can tell the calling application whether to abort or not. So that's what this little bit's about. And then that's all just held within a conditional disable structure, so you can tell it to you can turn it to off basically. So there's another wrong button. There's a assert level that equals off in there, so you can just turn them off if you want to. And then the VI that gets called is this one here. Let's come up with my here. So it's a pretty simple kind of cube message handler application. Everything comes into this assert input VI, which is just a pretty simple little while loop. All this does is decides if it's a shutdown command or if it needs to be aborted for any reason, and assuming that doesn't need to be done, it passes everything over to a fairly similar looking VI. This VI, which actually takes in all the asserts and then holds all of the current assert values and all the tests that are defined, all of that information in this shift register. And then I've got a bunch of dynamic dispatch VIs here that do all different actions. So probably the main one is new asserts, which gets called when there's whenever one of the values for the asserts changed, and that just goes through and evaluates whether that means any of the asserts failed, and then you updates all of the data going out to the display and so on. So I just close all this down. So I've got a couple of little test VIs here, which don't do anything complicated. I just simply, there's just an event structure and a while loop which writes all this data to the asserts. So if I just modify a couple of these to get them to register. And then I've got a little drop-down box here, and then you can type in new tests. So I can do things like test1 equals. Now, I felt that having kind of text-based assert definitions was a place where you could easily get things wrong when you're defining these and end up confusing it. So that's what this kind of drop-down box is for. So I can say I want to test, in brackets, and then it looks for all the names of active asserts. And then I can just say test that equals 14. And then if I change that to that, it says it's basically done the assert and tests if test assert 1 equals 14 or not. And then if I change it so that it doesn't equal 14, it aborts that application. There is a bug in that it aborts this application sometimes as well, and I can't figure out why. So I need to figure that one out. But I'd say it's not perfect yet.
Because it doesn't do it during the deadline.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes it perfect.
Yeah. So I've tried to build in quite a lot of other bits of functionality in here as well, so you can combine multiple. If I you can do things like I don't know, test 1 equals test test 2 equals, what's that? You've got 15, and then that means, hang on, what's my cursor anyway? Or test set 1 equals 80. No, it shouldn't. Hang on, that thing shouldn't have quit then. I broke it. I did break it. I think I had them on, I didn't I? Yeah, the idea is, I've done something wrong there. The idea is I should be able to put in things like combine multiple asserts with or and statements and so on to build a more complicated algorithm. Because sometimes you might want to only, I think you sort of may want to say, this assert fails if any one of these fails, but I don't want if they all fail, or if they all pass, then that's okay or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome stuff.
Thanks.
So essentially, dumbing it down for me is you can post any of this all over your app.
Yeah.
And monitor different things. And
Yeah.
act on it as you are developing.
Yeah. And then when you come to deploy it, you just change one flag in the project, and it ignores them all. So they're still there they're still in the code, but they don't do anything. So therefore, if you come back and need to do some debugging, you can just rename them and you don't have to go back and maybe add them all in or anything. Actually, one other thing.
Looks like the project variable.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can go into. Where is it?
So what's behind that numeric assert? What's the diagram? Just basically.
So that just calls this function whenever I do a value change event on the various buttons here. Just writes in the new value of that and the label text to give it a name.
But presumably, you would drop that VI around your
Yes.
program at the points that you're interested in seeing stuff at.
Yes. So the idea would be if you had some large application, have this all over the place, give them all individual names so you can identify them, and then in the that's how they're identified in that drop-down list here. Sorry, this list here. They get identified by the names and give them on your block diagram, so you can just have as many of these as you like. The other thing I was going to show you actually is if I do that, I've put in so you can do lists as well. So I can do list, and then so it just gives me a list of all of the current asserts that are active. So it doesn't do any testing of that one, just it's kind of like probes of that.
So where do you set the type?
The type is automatically picked up. So input this as variant.
Yeah.
So then from the variant you can
Variant type thing.
yeah, there's variant.
Just done.
Yeah, you can I think you convert it to a string or something. I can't remember
But you don't
exactly.
have to convert it to a variant before you feed it in.
No, you just plug it straight in, it automatically picks it up. So it does mean I only support string, variant, and string, Pi32, and numerics at the moment, but you could easily expand it to support any data type you wanted. That's the idea. Yeah,
So do you think if you're having a sort of multi-user interface application, you'd always have an event case with the assert?
you'd always, well,
Bump the assert anyway.
you've got the assert anywhere you like. It doesn't need to be in an event structure or anything.
Just that's just
Oh, right,
just,
so
that's
that's
just
the
the example.
Code, yeah. Doesn't matter where you put that.
As long as it's got a name and then.
Yeah, you need to give it a unique name, because otherwise it can't identify itself.
like having more structured breakpoint.
Probes or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so there is certainly kind of overlap with things like probes and breakpoints and whatnot.
But it's there all the time. You designed it rather than
Yeah.
checking it.
So, trying to think if there's other things I should mention about. I guess, I mean, I can go through the code, but there is quite a lot of classes and stuff. I struggle to remember exactly how it works. To be honest.
Can you save assertions from sort of one day to the next? So it doesn't, you seem to be typing them in as you go.
Yes.
Can you save the ones that you had at the end of one day so that you can still use them the next?
It's
Or are they still in there and you just...
no. So that's what. So I've got this menu here where I can save and load.
Right.
It's not actually fully working yet, but that's certainly
It will be.
It's planned, yeah. Yeah, I know. So, like you say, you don't want to have to type them all in again, exactly.
Yeah, it wouldn't be any point.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be breakpoints.
So, yeah.
Would otherwise.
Take my quietness as being whirring brain rather than anything else. The only criticism I have is that it's better than my email presentation.
Sorry.
Therefore, it sucks. That's really good. I like it.
Should be able to work as anything that can be flattened.
Yeah. I went for the kind of the more commonly used data types to start with, and I built in some kind of common tests. So it's not just has to equal, it's there's equal, not equal, greater than, less than, and so on. Built in, but yeah, you can expand it and create more tests and more data types as you like.
Yeah, you've got get type info.
You know, Darren's hidden gems,
Alright, I haven't used that.
hidden away deep in the VI libs somewhere.
Yeah.
Is that?
And he's just palletized it.
Yeah, that's not, it's basically the same,
Yeah.
probably very similar.
I guess.
We do the same one.
Oh. Here's one.
Yeah, I think if you convert
actually,
to a,
Hold on.
You can do it on normal thing.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. We don't have it, do we? Sweet.
Darren's
I'll just
gems.
fire up VIPM and
Yeah.
Pull it
that's
down.
right.
Darren's gems store. Okay. No. It gets typing.
It was one of the ones he showed. I thought, that's cool.
Doesn't seem to come up in quick. I just did it with. Where is it? No.
Gives you a code, doesn't it? If you squash it as a string, gives you a code, which is the data
Yeah.
type.
And in I think it was the second part of index 1 of the array or something.
Probably it's all over us.
But
This can do stuff in OpenG for that sort of thing as well.
yeah,
And there is like the code here.
Yeah, I'm not really into that.
Yeah, 90% of it will be done in the VI gem stuff. There's a couple of extra bits there.
I'll stick it up when I'll plug back in.
yeah. I'll modify it. There's a VI somewhere in there that does that. I can't remember exactly where it is.
Yeah. That's cool. I like it. Yeah. Good. How big an overhead is it to add to your code? It's like cubes.
Yeah, it's only named queues. So I don't think I haven't sort of tested it without doing any high speed stuff.
That's what we
Going on inside the VI, this is the loop there. So that's the one that's going to cause the biggest hit. You're dropping that all over the place.
And not commenting it out as well.
What the? Oh, sorry, this one here.
Yeah.
That's just
is he just posting it in the queue?
that's just this VI.
Yeah, he's just posting it.
Oh, it's that one again. Oh, okay.
Would you put a conditional on the actual probe as well?
Oh, what, around the sub VI here?
Yeah, you wouldn't need to.
You could do. I guess if you're passing a large data type or something, it could potentially cause a copy, couldn't it? it's not going to have any impact if you're just passing a numeric, but if you made a new class that accepted a waveform or something, then that's
So
it.
it's like conversion.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to declare my ignorance. How did you do that? Because I've never really used these conditional things. So yeah, there was a project flag.
Yeah, so you just put that
It's
down.
quite done.
It's been,
Right, click on right, click
it's
on
on,
project
it's on my
folder.
computer.
Yeah,
Or
right.
project
Right.
Ah,
Yes, conditional disables.
Every time I see on the project.
It's on project.
Yeah, project.
You can have it on item, so
well,
Oh yeah, there you go. So you can set up the symbols in there, and then,
you just added the
and
condition.
then just have them in there. Yeah.
That is quite cool.
But I-
Somebody should have told me.
But I use it, if you're doing a Max application and people want a simulator, and they're gonna, you don't want to install it, you have to really use those so that you can pass all the Max stuff inside a conditional. So you can build a simulator that doesn't need all the extra bits
Yeah,
without erroring. That's when I first started.
that's real handy.
The last time around, Mike Bailey posted up a BI that you can include as a pre or post build. So you can turn it on pre-build as part of the XC and then turn it off after.
Yes.
We
It
was
doesn't work
talking.
multiple times.
We was talking yesterday about pre and post build stuff. I need to get my head around that as well. Because that cropped up at the customers. So I need to create directories and stuff. Make them empty. I said, well, because I don't build them already.
And the useful location for that, or use for that, is that there are certain flags that are already created. For example, which FPGA target you're on.
Yes.
If you're trying to build for multiple devices, like we do internally here, we have those flags set. Or, for example, what the current CPU or OS is. There's a piece of code that might have to act a little bit differently if it's RT rather than Windows. So you have this conditional disabled to flip in a different piece of code. It goes having to manage two different VIs and having to bug fix both.
It's one of those things that I've seen it, and I've seen it in the code. I've seen the different target types, and I just assumed that was it. This is an NI thing. It's just here it is. So I've never actually thought you could do it right.
Yeah. Really easy.
That's really cool indeed.
Is there anything else anyone wants to know about it? Any other questions?
It's a whole different discussion. The next level up is how you test code and when you use that to do software engineering, isn't it? Whether you it might be worth discussing. You know how you test code and say how good it is.
We've certainly changed our error traffic in the last couple of years. Changed by doing it, I think. That's a change. Actually, tons of error traffic.
Is it something you? But if you've got people who aren't so experienced, they're not going to know any of this sort of error tracking and stuff, are they?
I think, and this is not just a LabVIEW thing. I mean, I think so. The standard default in LabVIEW is you pass it through. Well, that's a massive assumption. You know, and it's always bothered me because your program is sitting there, you're trying to debug it, it's suddenly doing something really odd, and it's because something's passing through. No, stop. And I always thought it's a weakness in LabVIEW, but it's not. It's just a weakness in software. All software. The last thing people think about is error traffic.
I think that's an integration thing as well. Like, there's nothing worse than when you get a string of VIs and go, I know they're out. It's not coming out the other end because someone hasn't put that in somewhere in the middle or something like that.
And that should help because you know where it comes from, don't you?
Yes, if you've got a name that's searched after
You can find
something,
it.
you can
Yeah.
find where it failed and so on.
Yeah, I mean, we originally, when we did our sort of component stuff, the component should have preconditions and post-conditions. So it should test its states going in, test its states going out. This is what it should do. And it's one of those things that should is a very operative word because we've never done it. But you should do it. And you get caught out every now and again when you have I was chasing down a bug in not my code, but it was big old programming, Crawley, and I was chasing it down. It took months because it would happen every now and again. And it was essentially an initialized array going into a for next loop every now and again. So an error condition would generate an empty array, go in the for next loop. The program did something peculiar and then lost everything going out. So then it would just lose all of its instruments on a random sort of thing. So post-condition checking and pre-condition checking should be, if you've got an array going into a VI, for example, you should always pre-condition that's got something in it. Because it's kind of interesting that. And it's those kind of things. We was talking about it, I think a couple of years ago at the CLA summit, and I don't know, I wonder whether that should be an integral part of the inputs and outputs. You should be able to right-click on an input to a VI and go, well, what are my post-condition checks?
But LabVIEW doesn't really have a good mechanism for handling that, though. Then it would work if it was in like a language where you have like a try-catch style thing.
Yeah, but I mean, the LabVIEW data flow way of doing errors is peculiar. Because to my mind, errors should be logged in a queue. This is what we do now. We log to a queue. We have a display of time because it's not interfering in your way you're programming. Say the data flow thing. Yeah, you use that just to string it. You don't really use it for error trapping, do you?
I think you need a mix of the two. I don't think you can. I think it's useful when you have a string of operations that are dependent. I mean, I think that's where the data flow method works really well. So if you've got some problem in your step getting your array that produces an empty array, you don't want to then go and try and do a load of other stuff and mask the original symptom. I think that's the actual problem as opposed to symptoms. But then that needs to end up with, log it with a time somewhere that we can see that that's happened and clear it and try again.
Yeah, I use strings of VIs that are
Only reason I ask is I ran into a horrible problem about 6 months ago.
Okay.
Timed while loop in re-entrancy. Nobody tells you that you basically then have multiple instances of different timed while loops.
Yeah.
In effectively the same piece of code. And the way that it's described on the LRA website doesn't make sense.
well, this is essentially it's a named queue, so
Yeah, as long as it's got an individual name for your server, it should be fine.
And you can call back from re-entry and call back its name. So it's a clone name. So you can give it unique names just by appending the clone name in front of it. So that's fine.
Yeah, probably have to handle this. You can only go for unique label names. So if you've got something again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Make the clone name part of the label.
Oh, yeah, so you could
Yeah, just include the VI name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's everything you have to think.
Yeah.
I like it. If you're provoking.
So this is the GitHub site. So if anyone wants to download the zip with all of that project in and everything, all the test code and everything is there for you to play around with as well. I'm planning to make it into a VI package, so it'll be a bit more neatly downloadable, but I tried doing that the other day to sort of have it ready for this, and it all went horribly wrong, and I had to go and do some other stuff. So. Yeah.
We just post that on the user group site.
Yeah, no problem.
Perhaps something a little bit to review.
Maybe.
Some kind of song. It's LabVIEW 2014.
Yes. Yes, I could do a save for previous. I could do a save for previous or something.
Is that really dependencies on anything else?
Not a lot.
Shouldn't really. I can't see anything in it that needs dependencies.
A few VI lib there. Good VI lib VIs there. But that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no, I don't think there's any
Oh,
code
there, so.
What do you want putting on the palette? Just the
just the do assert function, really. I guess.
just the do assert.
Yeah.
Okay. And the little viewer, how did you access the viewer?
Well, that's
The,
launched with VI Server through this.
it's launched on use, is it? Okay.
Yeah. So it's VI. Just does run on that.
Okay. Put it on the community outbuild package.
Yeah.
Good job.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
I think that's probably the next